I'm Matt with eTrailer. Today we're going to be talking about our Malone Roof Rack on our 2024 Mercedes-Benz GLE. Now this is going to be a great entry-level option that's going to have a bunch of features already built into the rack. So when it comes to different storage solutions for your Mercedes, there's a lot of options. You can throw a hitch on there and use a cargo carrier or a trailer back there. Now the issue with putting anything on the back of your vehicle is that's going to make your footprint a lot larger. So if you're trying to back it into a small or tight area, it's going to be really difficult, especially if you have a trailer back there. Now with a roof rack, that's going to keep our same footprint. We're just going to be extending the height of our vehicle, which to me is the preferred method of really carrying any extra gear. Now what makes the Malone unique is, again, this is going to be very entry level, more affordable than some other options around, but what I like is most other options aren't going to have lock cores already built into this. So today I'm mainly going to be focusing on how this rack is going to interact with this Mercedes, but first let's talk about the components that come with your kit. So there's going to be two main components. We're going to have the crossbars up top and we're going to have the towers beneath it. So let's start with the crossbar. So on top, we're going to have this channel that goes all the way across with this weather stripping in here. Now what this is doing is it's creating another point where you can load your gear onto. If you don't want to clamp anything around here, you have this option then. And it's going to have this integrated weather stripping in here, so that's going to prevent any wind noise when you're driving down the road, and it's going to prevent any debris from getting in here. Now I will say this one's a little bit snug when you do slide something into place, so definitely keep that in mind. But with this shape too, this is going to help it be more aerodynamic, that also help reduce wind noise. When we come down to the bottom, we're going to have the tower itself, and this is going to have an integrated lock core. And again, I can't stress enough that most roof racks don't come with this. You can get them afterwards, but this one's already integrated. And if you were to take this off, you're going to find that there's only one bolt in here, so it's a really simple installation when you do get it to clamp around your rails. And speaking of clamping around your rails, this is the fit we're getting right now. So honestly, it looks pretty good. We don't have any large gaps on the side of here to create any wind noise, and we're going to have this lip at the bottom that does give you a little bit more grip when it's up here. One more thing I did want to mention about this tower is you're going to have the spot where you're going to have this integrated Allen key, and that's what you can use to tighten this into place. And that's what I like about this, is that this is integrated and you're not going to lose it. Now, if you like all these features, I think another one you'd like is going to be the inner roof rack. It is going to have a lock core already integrated into the design, and instead of having an Allen key, it's going to have a little knob that you can turn on the tower. To me, that feels just a little bit easier to use. Now, the biggest difference between them is just going to be the quality of parts. With the inner roof rack, that's going to be something that's going to last you a lot longer as compared to something like this. I've noticed sometimes after a lot of use, the rubber components on this can get kind of loose, and it's just something that gives me a little bit more confidence over a long time. But this one is still going to be great if you're just getting into hauling anything on top of your roof, and this one is also going to be more affordable too. Now let's get a couple measurements to see how our rack's sitting up here. So the first one I'm going to get is going to be the overall height, and that's going to be a little bit under 3 inches. Not too bad. I do recommend just measuring the top of your vehicle from these rails, then getting the crossbar, and if you have anything on top of it, get that too, to make sure you can get under any low clearance areas like a garage. Now another thing to take into account is going to be your sunroof. Now this one comes up pretty high, so what we want to make sure we're watching out for is this sunroof making contact with the clamps on your rails right here. Now what you might have to do sometimes is even move these back for it to work with your setup. I've also noticed on the front side, when this initially comes up, you are going to have a little bit more leeway since it's not going to come up at an extreme angle. So up front, you're probably going to be fine in most cases. Just keep an eye on it. And then for the space underneath here, let's say you keep your sunroof down. This is going to be sitting at about 3.5 inches. So that's going to be fine with, even if you have some larger clamps. But again, just watch out if you do use a sunroof. But overall, I think this is going to be a solid entry-level choice. And again, if you're looking for something that's going to feel a little bit more premium, the Innos Rack will be good for you. Now, for the installation, this is actually going to be really simple to do, and we can show you that now. So at the beginning of the installation, you'll notice I already have one crossbar already installed, but it's going to be the same process. So we want to make sure we have all our parts. We're going to have that crossbar itself, and we're going to have the towers that come along with it. Again, they're going to have these end caps here. So I can actually show you how to put this into place. You're also going to have this key that comes with it too. So to do this, I'm going to take off my end cap. These are pretty easy to take off. It slides out of place. You're going to have these tabs on top of your tower. And I'm going to make sure this is facing in the right orientation. So we want to make sure this opening here, that's facing on the outside of our crossbar. Like so. And these tabs are going to slide right into that channel. With that done, we can put this end cap back on. With that on, make sure you have both of these towers into place. We want to make sure this opening's going to be wide enough. So right now that opening is going to be not enough for us today. We want it more like this. Let's say that's not enough though. What I can do is come over here to this bolt on the back side. You can use your tool to loosen that up, or if I push it in like this, I can even just use my hand to twist it some, and now we have a larger opening. Make sure you do that on both sides, and then we can get this on our roof. So when we're putting it up on our roof, we want to make sure that the thicker side is facing forward and the thinner side behind us. So from here, we're just going to lift it up and just reach across and line it up with our other raised rail. Now this is a little bit difficult for you. You can grab a friend to help you out, but in most cases, you should be able to get it yourself. And from here, what we're going to do is get a couple measurements. So because right now we just have it roughly in place, the two main measurements I want to get at this moment is one, to make sure that it is squared off. So there's two ways of doing that. Just find one point on your roof, measure from there, and make sure it's the same on either side. Or what you can do, what I typically do, is find a point like this plastic piece here, and we're going to make sure it's even and lined up with that on either side. Then what I want to do is make sure we have the correct overhang. So you can find that by measuring the end of this tower to the end of your crossbar, checking the other side. If you do need to make any adjustments, you can either pull it towards you or push it away. There is a third measurement I do recommend getting, and that's going to be your crossbar spread. So measure from the center of one to the center of another one, and just make sure that this is going to be a measurement that's going to be compatible with any gear you put up here. We can tighten this down into place, so we're going to have that bolt in there. We'll just tighten that down with our integrated tool. Now, the way I recommend doing this is to tighten it enough we have some resistance, just a little bit on one side, and then we're going to go to the other side and repeat that process. We'll just go back and forth until this is all the way tightened down. And then once we have a fair bit of resistance to this, then we can put this back in. Sometimes I notice when I am rotating this all the way, it will be kind of annoying to work around this. So if you can take this off, it might help you. We'll just put this back in by sliding that Allen key. That will line up, and then we can lock it into place. Once this is all locked up, give it a good old shake test. Make sure it's not going to go anywhere. Feel solid. But if it does, you can load it up with whatever gear you have and take it out for a ride. That'll complete our installation. If you guys have any other questions, let us know here at eTrailer. And again, I'm Matt. Thanks for watching.